In this video, I'm going to be launching agent swarms with the newly released GPT 5.4. OpenAI released GPT 5.4 Thinking and GPT 5.4 Pro yesterday. I'm sure that you guys have all seen this benchmark. Really, the main thing that I always look at as a vibe coder is the SweBench Pro, which is the software engineering benchmark that they provide. And really what I look at is, okay, if you're looking at their last frontier model, which was GPT 5.3 Codex, that scored a 56.8% on this benchmark, and the new model scores a 57.7%, meaning that it saw a 0.9% improvement in this benchmark. So subtle improvement, but not massive jump in the benchmarks from OpenAI. But one thing that I do want to show you guys is that in artificial analysis, if you actually go to the coding index, check this out. Let's zoom in a little bit here. So this model is now the #1 coding model inside of the artificial analysis coding index, which is a very reliable benchmark. You can see that, let's add Opus 4.6 real quick to this list, but it outperforms this very, very well. So here's Opus 4.6 at 48 on this benchmark. Here's GPT 5.2 extra high at 49. Here's Gemini 3.1 Pro at 56, and then here's GPT 5.4 extra high at 57. So we see a huge jump in performance on this index. Another thing to highlight is the agentic index. So here we saw another huge improvement. So here's GPT 5.2 extra high, and it saw a 9-point improvement from GPT 5.2 extra high to GPT 5.4 extra high. And this is now the #1 model for agentic capabilities. So another thing to look at is just the overall intelligence index. And again, this one now ties Gemini 3.1 Pro and beats out Claude Opus 4.6 Max. So definitely when you do look at the benchmarks, this is a very capable model. Another thing that I do want to look at is the BridgeBench. So let's head over to the BridgeBench here, and I want to show this to you guys. So this model now scores #1 on the BridgeBench. It beat out Sonnet 4.6 and Opus 4.6 by a score of 0.6 and 0.7 respectively. So this is now the #1 model in BridgeBench, and I've tested it out, and I have to say so far I've actually been pretty impressed. Not only were they able to create a more intelligent model, but they also expanded the context window up to 1,050,000 tokens, which is a very substantial improvement. As you guys know, if we go to GPT 5.3 Codex, this model only had a max context of 400,000. So they significantly expanded the context window, and they produced a more intelligent model. And not only did they ship this model yesterday, but they shipped something very important that you guys need to know about, and it's called fast mode. You guys are going to be able to see this in this video. I'm going to show you what this looks like, but basically if you do /fast, you're able to speed it up by, they say, 1.5 times faster with the same level of intelligence and reasoning. So I was using this yesterday on stream, and I have to say, when you're in this mode, it totally solves the performance issues that we've seen with some of these Codex models and GPT models in general, is that they are a little bit slower, but with fast mode, it completely wipes this out. It's now just as fast as Opus, and this really changes the game in my opinion. So we're going to be working on with this as well as launching agent swarms. So with that being said, let's get right into actually launching our swarms and putting GPT 5.4 to the test. All right, so I am now over inside of BridgeSpace. So if you guys are unfamiliar with BridgeSpace, this is an ADE, an agentic development environment, where you are able to manage AI coding agents at scale. This is the product that I've built with BridgeMind. If you guys are unfamiliar with BridgeMind, make sure you go to bridgemind.ai and check this out, as you can download this now, and it works very well on Mac OS. There's a couple of bugs with Windows that will be fixed soon, and that will be shipped, but this is shipped on Mac OS. It's very stable on Mac OS, and we're going to be launching what I call Bridge Swarms. So Bridge Swarms is a feature that we launched yesterday, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be creating swarms, and I have a couple system prompts, but we're going to be creating a few swarms, and to do that, I actually have Cursor pulled up here, and we have 5 different things to test. So the first one is a Next SaaS dashboard. So in order to create a swarm, and you guys are going to see how this works, but we're going to be launching all Codex agents here, but let's go and create a swarm. So this is going to be the Next SaaS dashboard. I'm going to CD over into my desktop, and then I'm going to CD into BridgeMind, and then I'm going to CD into the directory called GPT 5.4 test. This is where we are going to be creating this project. And what I want to do now is I am going to drop in this prompt. Okay, I'm just going to drop in this goal prompt here into our bridge swarm, and then I'm going to go to agent roster, and this is where you're actually able to set up your agent roster. So to do this, I think that in order to build a Next SaaS dashboard, I actually want to do a team. So you have the ability to do presets or just provision this manually, but we're going to go with presets. We're going to launch all Codex agents, and this will default to GPT 5.4 fast because that's what I have set up. There's going to be some more customizability coming soon, but as you guys can see, this is our coordinator agent, and then we have a few builder agents. We have 5 builder agents, we have 2 scout agents, and we have 1 reviewer agent, and then 1 more coordinator agent. So I'm going to launch this swarm with this prompt, and here is our swarm. They're all working together, and they all are able to communicate with one another and even communicate with me. And what you guys are going to see here is that we're going to be able to communicate with all agents at once. And over here on the operator console, this is actually where I'm able to communicate with my agents. So if I need to send a message to all my agents, I can just send a quick message just like I would with an employee. Or if I need to change to a particular agent that I need to send a message in to mid-run, I can do that as well. But we're going to let this run, and while this is running, let's launch a few more tasks. But you can see Scout 7, Builder 6 have now, sent me some information about what they're doing. But with that being said, let's launch a few more of these agents in more swarms. In order to just launch a new swarm, all I have to do is click Command T. I'm able to either launch a BridgeSpace or a bridge swarm. Like I said, we're going to be focusing on swarms today and using GPT 5.4 to launch swarms. The next task that we're going to give GPT 5.4 is to build a browser FPS game. So let's go back over to BridgeSpace and let's just put in the swarm name, browser FPS game. We're also going to CD back into that directory. So I'm going to CD into desktop, and then I'm going to CD into BridgeMind, and then I'm going to CD into GPT 5.4 test. So that is going to launch this swarm inside of that directory. And now let's launch this prompt. This is going to be our second prompt and our second swarm to be able to build this out and put GPT 5.4 to the test. So let's paste this in. Let's go to our agent roster. And for this prompt, I just want to do 5. So it's going to have a coordinator, a builder, another builder, a scout, and then a reviewer. Let's launch this swarm. Here's the swarm. Let's go back over here. What is this looking like? So you can see all these messages from our agents are all coming back to us. This one, it looks like reviewer 9 is now done. But these are all working with each other and sending messages to one another as well as myself. But we'll let this work and let this build out this Next.js SaaS. And then back over to our SaaS here, our browser FPS game. We'll let that run for a minute, but let's paste in another prompt to launch another agent. So let's go back over to cursor here. Same thing. So the next thing that we're going to build is a flight simulator. So let's copy this flight sim. Actually, I'll just do this. Flight simulator. Let's pull up BridgeSpace. Let's launch another bridge swarm. So bridge swarm, this is going to be, the swarm name is just going to be flight simulator. And then we're going to just drop in the prompt, and then we're going to CD back into that directory, CD BridgeMind, and then, hold on here, CD BridgeMind, and then, okay, hold up. Okay, I spelled it wrong. CD BridgeMind, CD GPT 5.4 test, and then now let's go over to agent roster. And for this one, I'm just gonna do a custom one on this. So let's do a coordinator agent, Codex, builder, and then let's do a reviewer, and then let's do just 1 builder. So this is just going to do 3. So let's launch another swarm here. So this just has 1 coordinator, 1 reviewer, and then 1 builder for this swarm. And then here's the mission up here. So at any point in time, for example, if I go back to this Next.js SaaS project here, at any point in time, I can actually check up on my terminal. So you can see that all of these agents are working in parallel now, building out this Next.js SaaS. And you can see GPT 5.4 extra high is working in all of these terminals. Let's go back to the Bridge Swarm dashboard, which is a little bit easier for us to manage. You can see that they're all sending messages here on the right about what they're doing. This one, the operator is working well. These are working very well. So I'm happy with the way that these are going. So let's launch our last 2 tests, and then by the end of this video, we'll be able to kind of see what it's able to create. Some of these prompts are very difficult. This one is a real-time chat platform. So for example, that's building a mono repo. I'm not sure if that will be able to succeed just because there may be API keys, but regardless, let's put it to the test. Let's do another Command T, launch another swarm, and let's paste this in, and let's call this one chat app. This one's very, very difficult. Chat app, let's now CD into the BridgeMind directory, and then CD into the GPT 5.4 test directory again. And for this one, since this one is so difficult, let's launch a platoon, 15 agents. Let's launch all Codex. So here is the agent roster, 2 coordinators, I think 7 builders, a couple scouts, 3 scouts, 2 reviewers. So let's launch this swarm now. So here is a swarm of 15 And then now let's launch this last one here. Just one more. This is the interactive data visualization dashboard. So let's now build this, and this will give us a good view of what this is going to do. This is a D3.js project. So let's now go back over to BridgeSpace, and let's now do a Command T, launch another bridge swarm, paste in this prompt, and then this one we'll just call D3 chat. We'll just do D3, and then I'm going to do CD into desktop, and then I'm going to CD into BridgeMind, and then I'm going to CD into the GPT 5.4 test here. CD GPT 5.4 test. So let's do that, and let's see here. Okay. So this is we're going to launch this, and this is going to be our last roster here. Or wait, hold on. I actually did not have that in the right directory. Let me try this again. CD GPT 5.4 test. Go. And then go here, agent roster, and then we'll just do a squad here of 5 agents. So 5 agents, all codecs, 1 coordinator, 2 builders, 1 scout, 1 reviewer. Let's launch this swarm. So we now have all of our swarms running. We have 5 swarms total. If we go over to the flight simulator, how's that one working out? So you can see all the messages here, and at any point in time, I can message my agents if I want. But right now, we are improving this. This system is getting better, but I think that launching swarms, particularly bridge swarms, is going to be a very, very useful feature in the future. But I think this will give us a very good test of how GPT 5.4 is able to operate across all of these tasks inside of BridgeSpace using bridge swarms. All right, let's check up on our agents here. So what you can see here now is that this swarm is just about done building this Next.js SaaS dashboard. If we go over to our operator console here, there have been 161 messages over the past, like, what has it been, 15 minutes. So this looks good. You can see that a lot of these agents are now done. So Builder 3 says it's done. Builder 6 says that it's done. Builder 2 hit a live overwrite on own build files after I patch package config. So, it's messaging us, and at any point in time, I can send a message to any particular agent, right? So if I want to message Builder 3, I can send a quick message to him. So let's just say, what is your current status? Make sure you finish up. I am ready to test, right? So I'll send this message, and it literally sends that message to that builder. So you can see, operator, what is your current status? Make sure you finish up. I am ready to test. So I just sent that to builder 3. I said, hey, finish up. We're ready, right? The whole swarm is ready. So that's going to finish up here, but let's now check up on the browser FPS game. This one does look like it's done. Flight simulator is also done. You can see all of our messages here. There were 112 messages during this swarm. The coordinator sent 47 messages. The reviewer sent 3, and the builder sent 22. This is done. Let's go over to the chat app, which is the one that had a ton of agents. This one had a, basically, what was it, a legion? So this one's still working. This legion is still working. This legion has sent 157 messages. You can see, though, that some of these builders are now done. Builder 2 is saying that it's done with a couple of these tasks. It says delivered client shell layout under client SRC app. So this swarm looks like it's doing a good job. We can zoom out a little bit here, too, and see, like, okay, like, what's the current status? You can see, okay, here is the swarm. Let's now check up on D3 to see what the status of that one is. This one also looks like this one's actually still working here, and that was a challenging one. You can see it's 126 messages during this swarm, but let's put to test what we can. But before we do that, I do want to show you guys and talk a little bit about what my thoughts are on this model after vibe coding with it for so much yesterday as well as today. So basically what I've noticed about GPT 5.4 is that this model, I do notice the improvements when using it. Like, hey, when you look at artificial analysis and you see how it's performing, you need to know that, hey, that's accurate. Like, these models, like, when they're put through these benchmarks and you see a 7-point jump, like, that's something to note, right? Like, take note of that. But, something I want to show you guys is I actually want to launch a new BridgeSpace. So I'm going to launch a new BridgeSpace, and this is another feature of BridgeSpace, which is this is like basically the classic layout that we have. So if you guys are familiar with, basically like one of the best strategies of vibe coding, which is to use multiple agents at once. So this is different than swarms, but let's just launch 4 sessions and create a new BridgeSpace, and I can choose which agents I actually want to launch. So I can use Claude, Codex, Gemini, OpenCode, or Cursor. I'm going to choose Codex agents and launch this BridgeSpace. And here now our Codex agents are launched in this directory. And what I want to talk to you guys about is this fast mode, because I have to say this is an important, this feature here is actually just as, if not more important than the actual model release itself, because one of the biggest reasons that has held me back personally from using GPT models are the fact that they're slow, right? Like they have higher latency, they think longer, they think harder, whatever you want to say, right? And sometimes they can get you a better result. But the thing is I don't want to give a prompt and have it take 40 minutes, right? It doesn't make any sense. But what you can now do is you can toggle this fast mode, which is going to use 2x your usage, but it's going to speed up the agent by 1.5x, okay? And as you guys know, Codex does have a 2x rate limit until April 2nd. So I do have a Codex Pro plan, okay? And what I'm now seeing is that this fast mode now makes it worth it for me to actually use GPT models. Because, for example, let me drop in the API. I'm going to just say I want you to do an in-depth review of the API and identify security vulnerabilities. Security vulnerabilities. So let's just drop this in, and I do notice it being significantly faster. I noticed the speed up, and I was vibe coding for like 8 hours yesterday with this model, and I'm like, yeah, fast mode is kind of the way to go now. Like if you have a pro plan, yeah, it's going to use more, but hey, in general, super user vibe coders, right? Like I personally have max plans and pro plans to every single provider. I have an ultra plan for Cursor, I have an ultra plan for Gemini, I have a pro plan for ChatGPT, I have a max plan for Claude. That's what the world is going to look like in the future. And hey, like I don't just need one plan. Like for me personally, I'm always going to be using GPT 5.4 in fast mode from now on, because I use Claude, I use Gemini, and I use GPT. I'm not going to be hitting my rate limits with GPT 5.4 extra high just by putting it in fast mode. It's actually going to make me want to use the model more, because now it's like, okay, just because I use GPT, it doesn't mean it's going to take 50 minutes. It's actually going to speed it up significantly. So that's one thing that you guys need to know. You need to check this out. I've tried it. It is noticeably faster. So make sure you test out fast mode. It's honestly just as, if not more important than the model release itself. All right, so let's now take a look at what it was actually able to create. So here is our flight simulator. So you can see here, I'm able to control this with just WPitchin. And one thing I will say is that I'm actually not the biggest fan of testing models in this way. I think that to test a model, you really need to put it through like a real world vibe coding workflow where you're actually building features. I don't think that you can really do a model justice just by giving a one shot and having it build like a simulator like this. One thing that I will note though is that the UI capabilities of GPT 5.4, I do notice an improvement. I know that it didn't do great in Design Arena, but I will say I do notice better design capabilities of 5.4 versus 5.3. Now, one thing I will say is if we go to the Neon Lockdown here and I start this run, right, there's issues when you one-shot this model where, for example, I can't even see anything here. Now, like most of these things, like, hey, this is probably a one shot away, right, from being able to like actually say, hey, this is the feedback that I'm seeing. Can you fix this, right? And it would be able to do that. But the issue that I have with this is that, yeah, like these models, when you just give them a system prompt to be able to do things, like the best way to vibe code and be a good agentic engineer is to build fast and then iterate based off of the feedback that you give the model and give the model full context. So sometimes I feel like these tests that we do on models don't really give it full justice, and that's why I do the live streams, right, where I'm vibe coding an app until I make $1 million, because there I'm actually building products. And even like, for example, if you go back to BridgeSwarm, I used GPT 5.4 to help me improve BridgeSwarm and help me launch BridgeSwarm. So you can look at that, and that feature was built in large part because of GPT 5.4. So just know that, like, I use that model. Here is the look of this. It was the D3. This was the D3 dashboard. So, decent, but yeah, like I don't think that you can just like click around here and say, oh, this model is good or this model is bad. Here's the SaaS dashboard. Can I actually, let's see this one. Let's just do a random and enter workspace. So here, routing you to the right workspace. So here's the dashboard that it created. So it wasn't able to do a great job on those games, but I mean, look at this dashboard. I mean, this isn't bad, right? I mean, this is pretty good. I like the UI. I do notice, like I'm saying, I do notice the UI improvements. Now you do have these weird purple-blue gradients, which are common with GPT models, but these are like one shots, right? So, you can't judge a model off of one shot. I will say when I was using it yesterday for about 8 hours, I will say I do think the model is an improvement. Now, if we go over to the client, client here. Here is the chat. He'll just do drop hello here. And can I send this? So I can send this. It says welcome in, drop a win, a blocker, or a wild idea. So I don't know. Like, this is just a baseline test, because what I really wanted to show you guys was the ability to launch agent swarms and use GPT 5.4 extra high and fast mode. And note that, yes, I was using that yesterday. And like, yes, like if you want to succeed, you need to be launching multiple agents. And even like in my personal workflow, right, I'll just be launching like multiple agents all the time to be able to build stuff, right? Like that's just what I do. And that's what BridgeSpace is for. So if you have not already gotten a BridgeSpace subscription, I highly recommend that you do so. I'm going to be working on this every single day. There's going to be some kinks here at the start. If you have errors or you have bugs, that's what our bug bounty program is. You can literally earn Bitcoin for reporting bugs. So just note that, but go to bridgemind.ai, get a subscription to BridgeSpace, and try out BridgeSwarm today. It's currently 50% off. You literally get access to everything for $20 a month, and you also can use 50% off at checkout to have it be $10 a month for your first 3 months. So, you know, what I see from 5.4, and I'll leave you guys with this, is that this is an iteration. It's not a massive jump. It's an iteration, but there are things with this release like fast mode that do significantly improve Codex as a whole, right? You know, you ultimately will be getting more usage out of Codex than you would with a Claude subscription. You're going to be able to go a little bit faster now with fast mode, and this model is an improvement. And like we've seen with BridgeBench, hey, this is an improvement, 95.5. This is a substantial improvement. If we go over to the creative HTML, we can also look at some of these HTML tests. So here's OpenAI GPT 5.4. This is what it created. Let's go check out I really like the Space Invaders example. That's the example that I always like to look at, retro Space Invaders. So here's what GPT 5.4 was able to create for Space Invaders. Here's what Spark was able to create, and then here's what Opus 4.6 was able to create. So if we zoom out a little bit, you guys can see like just the UI capability of this model is like, hey, like this here with the effects and all that, like it is better, but like I said, you can't, like I can't do this model justice in a 20-minute long YouTube video. That's what my live streams are for, because I'm not a content creator. I have no interest in creating content. I do it because that's what BridgeMind is all about. That's what this brand is all about. Building in public, being on the front end of this technological revolution, this AI revolution, this vibe coding movement. So if you guys are watching and you have not subscribed to BridgeMind, if you have not joined the Discord community, make sure you do so, because this is the place to be in 2026. And there are over 6,500 builders in this community. Make sure you join today. There's going to be a link in the description as well as in the pinned comment. But go check this out. Use BridgeSwarm. And what I will say is I don't think that these one-shots do this model justice. It is an improvement. You can look at that with the benchmarks. You can look at that with fast mode. Codex is definitely going to be something that I'm going to put the BridgeMind stamp of approval on, and I'm going to start to use more in my workflow, especially with BridgeSwarm, because the model is reliable and it is faster and it is doing very well on coding benchmarks. So, you know, don't doubt GPT. Don't doubt OpenAI. I think a lot of people, they've written off OpenAI. Do not do that. They are literally like neck and neck with Claude, if not a little bit. Like they're better in some areas than Claude. You can see on BridgeBench, like it literally outperforms Claude models. So don't leave OpenAI out of the equation. You guys are going to start to see me use Codex more on stream, but I hope that this video is helpful for you guys. And if you guys haven't tried out BridgeMind yet, go get a subscription at bridgemind.ai. And with that being said, I will see you guys on stream and see you guys in the future.